What is a spin doctor? In this video, we'll explore in depth the modern phrase spin doctor. First, we'll examine a clear definition. Next, we'll look at the connection with sport. Third, we'll briefly review the history of the phrase. Then we'll look at three strategies spin doctors use. You'll find this particularly interesting. And finally, we'll look at related modern terms and how they compare with the phrase spin doctor. So let's start with the definition. A spin doctor is a spokesperson or public relations expert, especially in politics, who interprets events, policies, or statements in a way that presents their side in the most favorable light. Now let's look at the connection with sport. In sports like cricket, baseball, tennis, and table tennis, to put spin on the ball means to make it move in an unexpected or tricky way. The ball doesn't travel in a straight, predictable path. Instead, it curves, bounces oddly, or deceives the opponent. Once spin was established as a clever or misleading interpretation, the term doctor, meaning expert or fixer, was added in the 1980s. So a spin doctor is essentially someone skilled at putting a curve on the truth to make it bounce in their favor. Let's get an overview of the history of the term. The word spin in a political or media sense dates back to the 1970s to 1980s in the United States, when journalists began using it to describe how politicians tried to present news in a favorable way, putting a spin on it. The phrase spin doctor emerged in the 1980s, especially after the 1984 US presidential election, when campaign advisors would appear immediately after debates to explain or spin their candidate's performance to reporters. The term quickly gained popularity in both the US and the UK during the 1980s. For example, Alistair Campbell is regarded by some as one of the best spin doctors of all time, due to his work with Tony Blair, British Prime Minister from 1997 to 2007. By the 1990s, it was widely used in journalism worldwide, even evolving from its 1980s campaign jargon to a standard label for professional media manipulators in politics, business, and celebrity culture. But before we look at three specific strategies spin doctors use, a quick reminder: continually improve your English. Click the subscribe button, the bell icon, and then all. Now here are three common strategies spin doctors use to put events, policies, or information in a positive light: selective emphasis, clever wording, strategic omission. First, selective emphasis. Here's the original statement, which is neutral. Unemployment fell by 2% last year, but inflation rose by 5%. Here's a spin doctor's version using selective emphasis. Unemployment is at its lowest in years after a 2% drop last year. Note: the spin doctor emphasizes the positive part, unemployment drop, and omits or downplays the negative part, inflation rise, shaping public perception without technically lying. Strategy number 2, clever wording. Here's the original statement, which is neutral. The company will close 2 factories this year. Here's the spin doctor's version with clever wording. The company is streamlining operations by consolidating production into our most efficient facilities. Note, the spin doctor doesn't deny the factory closures, but frames them with positive-sounding words like streamlining and consolidating instead of closing. The third strategy is strategic omission. Here's the original statement, which is neutral. The new policy will save the government $3 billion, but it will also reduce funding for schools and hospitals. Here's the spin doctor's version with strategic omission. The new policy will save the government $3 billion. Note, the spin doctor leaves out the negative consequence, cuts to schools and hospitals, and presents only the positive element, shaping the message by omission rather than outright distortion. Now let's look at modern related terms and see how they compare. First, the phrase itself. 1. Spin doctor. Connotation, slightly negative, cynical. It implies clever manipulation rather than straightforward communication. Use, mostly in journalism and politics, but also in corporate or celebrity contexts. Number 2, PR strategist or public relations strategist. Connotation, neutral to positive. It suggests professionalism, planning, and reputation management. Use, business, celebrity, non-profit, politics. 3, communications director. Connotation, neutral, formal, and official. It refers to a legitimate role inside an organization. Use, politics, corporations, NGOs, government offices. 4, press secretary. Connotation, neutral, formal, but sometimes viewed skeptically. The official spokesperson for a politician or institution. Use, government and political contexts. 5, propagandist. Connotation, strongly negative. It implies deliberate distortion or misinformation for political control. Use, authoritarian regimes, wartime rhetoric, ideological messaging. So in conclusion, to put it simply in informal English, the phrase spin doctor has a bit of a negative, even mocking tone. Is used for someone who knows how to twist the truth or dress it up so things sound better for them. Has this video helped you? Then like, share or comment now. And build a powerful English vocabulary with my free course on Udemy. Just go to goodenglish.online.